Arsenal suffer yet another defeat. Lost again. This time at the hands of Man City in the EFL Cup or Carabao Cup or Coca Cola Cup or whatever the hell it's called these days. I'm not too sure. You might as well call it the Man City Cup at this point. They've won it 5 of the last 7 years. They won it the past 3 years straight. They're probably going to win it again. So why not? Look, at this point, going to be brutally honest. Was I realistically expecting a win? Not at all. Not a chance. Was I expecting Arsenal to be the team to stop City's run for 4 Coca-Cola, Carabao, EFL Cups in a row? Nah, not really. Was I expecting Pep Guardiola to be a good pal? Let his struggling mate, Mikel Arteta, get a win, bit of a confidence boost, maybe save his job, or at least play a weakened side to give him some little chance. Nope. Turns out Pep is a bad friend. In fact, he did quite the opposite. He played a very strong side. The likes of Gabriel Jesus, Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Aymeric Laporte, Ruben Diaz, basically a full side with a backup keeper. Knowing that we don't take shots on goal anyway, so yeah, why not throw in your backup keeper? I guess you could argue he didn't play Aguero, De Bruyne, Sterling. Yeah, but look, they were on the bench. So just on the off chance things weren't going to plan, you could throw these guys on. But look, that City backup team, it's stronger than our best 11s. Let's be fair. So yeah, look, it was actually funny enough. It was Arteta who made the big changes. Probably most surprising of all, the goalkeeper, Alex Runerson, who has been shaky at best in the Europa League at times. Let's just say I wasn't expecting a clean sheet from us. I know I was absolutely brimming with optimism, or rather, quite the opposite, going into this game. I generally look at the positives as best I can coming into any game, but with this game, yeah, I just couldn't. I literally could only ever envision the result going one way. And like I said before, God, I hate when I'm right sometimes. So as I said, look, he went with Runerson in goal. Mustafi, Gabriel. Gabriel was back. He missed out in the league game against Everton due to suspension. Kolasinac, I really don't like Kolasinac as a left back, let alone a left centre back. Wasn't the trio that filled me with confidence. I think we all share the same reservations about Mustafi and Kolasinac. And look, I'm going to be honest. Lately, Gabriel has been showing signs of suffering from Arsenal syndrome, we'll call it. He's been a little bit shaky at times. Look, I'm not going to be critical. He's a new signing. He has had some very good performances. He's been our player of the month, I think, 3 times straight. But look, nobody can escape a bit of criticism. And yeah, at times, I don't know. At times, I think he's just lacking a little bit of awareness. But look, that could be largely to do with who he's playing with as well. Sometimes you need a partner beside you who's gonna help you look better at the same time as well. And right now, like, we just have nobody at the back, nobody. So look, Maitland Niles left wing back, Cedric Suarez right wing back, midfield pairing of Ceballos and El Neni. Yay. Joe Willock in a sort of new kind of wide role out on the right. Lacazette centre forward. Probably the one addition that gave me any sort of excitement about the game was the inclusion of Gabriel Martinelli. Look, although I was fully willing to accept Martinelli would be a little bit off the pace, having been out for so long, but no, he was actually pretty good. Uh, he included Balogun, Smith Rowe, Nketiah, Pablo Mari, Pepe, Tierney, and Leno on the bench. Aubameyang was out again with an injury. I've seen a couple of contrasting reports about a potential fallout with Arteta. Try not to read too much into it, and look, we'll keep our fingers crossed. It's just a bit of an injury. The lineup left me wondering a little bit. I was wondering if Arteta, he was kind of looking at this game as a bit of a free hit, maybe, in terms of maybe the expectation was that no matter what the lineup, City were more than likely going to come out on top of this game. I just wonder, is that why he included the likes of Runerson and some of the younger guys? Maybe kind of a way of appeasing the fans a small bit. Leave out the likes of Willian, Holding, Bellerin, the guys who are getting a lot of stick lately, but he seems to trust in. He kind of gave me the feeling that he'd almost accepted defeat, as he'd normally approach a game, especially against his mentor Pep Guardiola, with what he would class as his best available 11. So with the lineup he went with, I don't know, did he fully believe, did he feel that these players were actually the players that were better suited to getting him a result? I don't think so. But look, the game got underway and we just got off to the worst start imaginable. Inside the first 2 minutes, City took the lead. And I have to say, the defending was absolutely appalling. Like, it's been bad at times this season, but this was just absolutely pathetic. And believe me, I'm being kind here. Foden plays the ball out wide to Zinchenko, who's free. He swings the ball towards Gabriel Jesus, he's just able to nod the ball freely into the net. Classic Mustafi defending. Stand still, watches Jesus. He's behind him, unmarked. He just nods the ball home. Like, again, Gabriel gets a little bit found out here because he's behind Jesus and he's just standing there watching him score. Like, I watched the replays of this, and when I freeze the frame, we had 8 men in the box when this ball was swung in, and not one man picked up Gabriel Jesus. Like, Runerson came to the ball almost anticipating an easy catch. Like, how did nobody see Gabriel Jesus? I mean, he was standing right there wearing a navy jersey in a sea of red and white jerseys. Like, I'm literally considering writing a letter to Stan Kroenke to see if he'd be up for dropping Fly Emirates from the shirt as the sponsor and consider being sponsored by like Specsavers here. Like, there's shocking stuff. Like, it's the easiest goal Jesus is probably ever going to score, and typically he ends his goal drought against us. City were threatening a second goal not long after that. Fernandinho nearly gave them a 2-goal cushion. He hit a shot just outside the box, which took a bit of a nick off Gabriel now for a corner. So look, the warning signs were there for us early on. Obviously, as to be expected, but we're handing these teams opportunities, and these are teams that don't need to be given opportunities. You're just making it even easier for them again. So it took us about 13 minutes to have, I guess, what you call a half a chance. Danny Ceballos corner into the near post, met by Lacazette, who, like, he just needed to flick it towards goal, but made completely the wrong kind of contact, and it was almost a clearance rather than an attempt on goal. It wasn't an easy chance, but Lacazette has been so wasteful whenever a chance does actually present itself. 22 minutes in, City had a great chance from a corner of their own. Mahrez floats in a brilliant cross deep into the penalty area, and it was Aymeric Laporte who rose to met the ball. He put it inches wide. I think Runerson was beaten had I hit the target. Again, our defence completely asleep. City had Diaz and Laporte waiting on the corner. We had Kolasinac, Elneny, Gabriel, and Mustafi. I mean, we outnumbered them 4 men to 2 and still lost out. 3 of our players sort of attacked the ball and tried to crowd out the 2 City men, while Mustafi stood there. Like, Mustafi could have at least been at the back post, stand on the line to clear it off if needed. I mean, I've seen talk. This could be Mustafi's agent, maybe, talking to try entice somebody to make an offer. I mean, he's talking about having met with Barcelona's officials to try tie up a deal. Like, I'll help him pack the bag. I'll pay for his flight to Barcelona if he wants. The talk on our end is about a creative midfielder. But we are crying out for a leader at the back to organise this mess of a defence. City had a couple more half chances. Another corner won by Diaz. He headed wide. This time Kolasinac ends up outnumbered by 2 City men. Mustafi and El Neni standing there watching on. Joe Willock probably does just enough to make it awkward, but like it's still just not enough from us. It's just not good enough. And then just after the half-hour point, somewhat against the run of play, we actually did manage to level things up. Funny enough, the City keeper Zach Steffen, big punch, finds his way to Danny Ceballos. Plays the ball into the path of Martinelli down the left, who does really well to keep the ball from going over the line. Swings in a brilliant ball into the box towards Joe Willock. It's slightly too high for Willock, but thankfully enough, and Lacazette reacts quickly to head the ball into the net. And this is a really good header from Laka, who wore the captain's armband on the night. The captain leading by example and giving us some glimmer of hope. And look, maybe the armband suits him because didn't he get his last goal against Rapid Vienna while wearing the armband? So look, I've been harsh on Laka. I feel he's been wasteful this season, and in previous seasons. He's made a mess of some decent chances, but credit where it's due, he did do very well here. Perhaps we caught City slacking a little bit. They were kind of in cruise control, but temporarily we got ourselves on level terms. And look, I hate being negative, I really do, especially after we managed to pull a game level. But I just still couldn't allow myself to believe that we could get something out of this. Like even Lacazette's reaction to the goal, it almost felt as though we just grabbed the consolation. I mean, like we leveled the game up, but the expression on his face, you'd almost swear we were 6-0 down when he put that in the net. I looked at City's bench, who they could bring on, and I thought, there's no way Pep's allowing this game to slip out of City's reach. The City looked a little bit shaky right after our goal. Like the keeper, Stefan, again, playing a sloppy pass to Joe Willock. Nothing clear-cut really materialised. Took them a couple of minutes, but then they settled back down. The game sort of resumed as it had left off before the equaliser. 41 minutes on the clock. City on the hunt again. Some really nice 1-2 passing between Mahrez, Jesus and Foden. Completely opened us up. The type of play, we're completely lacking. Jesus went one-on-one with Runerson, who did extremely well to stop this going in. Like it looked a clear goal. It was brilliant keeping from Runerson there. He did do very, very well. A couple of minutes later, it was one of those, heart in your mouth kind of moments. Gabriel Martinelli, only back from long-term injury, arguably one of our best players in the first half. Like the lad that a lot of people are pinning all their hopes on, gets absolutely wiped out by the City keeper. The keeper rushes out to meet a loose ball. Martinelli also rushing towards it, and the keeper goes right through him, like actually to the point where his shin guard turned around to the back of his calf. And seeing Martinelli lying on the ground in absolute agony, I mean, I was watching this in shock. It looked really, really bad, and I was just thinking, here we go again. Like this is a leg break or something. It just looked awful. Thankfully, he managed to get up after a couple of minutes with a blood-stained sock. Look, it was clear he wasn't going to be able to continue, and I don't get why we didn't sub him there and then. Like he was an obvious discomfort. We ended up taking him off in the second half, about 3 minutes into the second half. I kind of felt like the David Luiz against Wolves injury all over again. Like, I mean, like the guy is injured. Like, get him off. Don't risk further damage. But anyway, like, we somehow went in 1-1 at the break. Second half, 55 minutes in. And unfortunately, it was to be the guy who kept us level right before the break that would ultimately cost us in the second half. Riyad Mahrez went down very close to goal. City were awarded, I'm going to say, a soft free kick. The free kick itself was taken by Mahrez, who hit a pretty soft free kick straight to Runerson. And unfortunately for Runerson, he had an absolute nightmare here. Fumbled the ball into his own net. And look, this is the type of goal that's going to crush a keeper's confidence. And I think it's going to be some time before the lad gets over this one. City back in the lead 2-1, like absolute howler from Runerson, and a big gift for City. But hey, look, it is the festive season, I suppose, so it's only right we gave them something. Unfortunately, were extremely generous and we continued handing out gifts. 4 minutes later, the Arsenal heads were down and look, City kill off the game with a Phil Foden goal. Fernandinho plays Foden through. Runerson goes down low. Foden dinks it over him. Game over right there. It never went to VAR. And after seeing replays, I thought he was a little bit ahead of Gabriel, but hey, look, didn't matter anyway, did it? Look, it sort of felt like let's just try keep this scoreline as respectable as possible now. 73 minutes in, City got their fourth. Foden floats the ball in after, a short corner link up with Mahrez. Same story as before. Two City players allowed freely attack the ball. It just became a case of, which one of them was going to win the race to put the ball in the net. It was Aymeric Laporte who delivered another blow to us, and Runerson almost dived after the ball had already crossed the line. But look, let's be fair, there's not much he could have done really. He was left completely exposed by his defence. Look, I've seen some articles today about Runerson, about how he looks out of his depth. How we should have known we were getting a poor keeper that came from Dijon in France and was number 2 out there as well. I'm also seeing that apparently he had to delete his Twitter account due to a barrage of hateful messages from so-called fans. Okay, maybe the guy is out of his depth. Maybe he isn't good enough for this level. But what do you expect? What keeper do you expect to stop these kind of goals going in? I mean, where's his defence? Where's the man marking? Of course he's going to concede 4 goals and we defend like that. I mean, Leno would have. As good as Emi Martinez has been this season after moving on to Villa, I mean, he's not keeping out every chance that we've given up this season. We're just so poor defensively. We're so poor. Like, okay, Runerson, he was definitely at fault for the second goal. But that's one of those that 99 times out of 100, you handle that with ease. Look, it happens. We get pissed off at it. We move on. I can't stand these so-called supporters that feed off of somebody making an error or playing badly. Like, how can you call yourself an Arsenal fan and go abuse one of our own players on social media? I mean, we all get annoyed. We all say how shit a player was, or has been, or is. I mean, I do it myself. I mean, I was joking about wanting Xhaka to keep getting himself suspended so that Arteta doesn't have to play him week in, week out. But do I go out of my way to send him abuse on social media? No, because I'm not a fucking gimp. Like these other complete arseholes pretending to be fans. Like, my God, support the team. Support its players, or else go support somebody else. I mean, take up a new sport. Buy yourself a goldfish. Go do something fucking positive with your life and stop abusing others to make your own shitty little life seem relevant. Sorry. Rant over. Just boils my blood. Really does. Anyway, back to the match. So 4-1 City. They move on to the semi-finals. Not much else to say. Like, we got Chelsea next in the league. It's a massive ask for us to get anything from this game. Like I felt going into this game, I just don't see us getting anything out of it. Look, I don't mean to be negative. I'm just trying to be real here. I'm looking towards the games that are coming up after the Chelsea game as being a bit more realistic for getting ourselves back on track. We've got Brighton, we've got West Brom, we've Newcastle in the FA Cup, we've got Crystal Palace, then we got Newcastle again, this time in the league. Had we not been on our current run of form, I'd be pretty confident in getting something from probably all of these fixtures. We all know the story right now. It's very, very different. I don't need to stress how important it is to get something from these games. Unfortunately, the reality is we have got Chelsea next. But look, football's a funny old game. If we could somehow manage a result against Chelsea, it could potentially be a massive springboard going into the run of fixtures afterwards. So look, we're going to be praying to all the gods, hoping the stars align themselves and Aubameyang finds those shooting boots that he left behind him somewhere last season. And who knows, maybe we can get something. Maybe. So look, as always, I'll be back to talk about the Chelsea game. So thank you, as always, for joining me. And look, until then, keep the faith. Come on, you Gunners.